What's up, O'Brien Army? We need to talk. So, when I was, say, 7 or 8 years old, I lived in North Carolina. Now, as you know, I have autism, so it was kind of hard for me to fall asleep. So, one time, the point of this video is, one time, I actually saw my nightmare before I had it. I saw what nightmares look like before you have them. Now, this is going to sound really stupid, but I need you to listen. So, one night I was laying under my blanket with the fan blowing on my face. I didn't expect what I saw next. It usually takes like 20 to 30 minutes for a person to fall asleep. However, this changed everything. What I saw was like a blank TV screen almost. It was like a bluish, whitish glow heading straight to my head. It went into my head right about at my forehead, and I immediately fell asleep and had a nightmare. I didn't even fall asleep slowly. I just saw what I saw, and then boom, I was asleep having a nightmare. I saw my nightmare before I had it. And when I had the nightmare, it wasn't very pleasant either. I dreamt about the end of the world. So, I was at what was then my behavior psychiatrist's office at the Cardinal Clinic in North Carolina. I'm pretty sure it was in Fayetteville, but I could be wrong. Anyway, I was at my pediatric psychiatrist, and I was talking to her about the end of the world. And I didn't really know what I was talking about, but I got a really bad feeling in my stomach. So I went to open the curtains and look out the window, and I saw a giant rock heading for Earth. It was in outer space, and it was merging towards Earth faster than anything I've ever seen in my life. It was so big, I couldn't even tell how big it was. And when it must have struck near Mexico somewhere. It struck the earth near Mexico, sending a giant shockwave towards the US. And it wiped out a lot of stuff. At that point, if I could see that from all the way in North Carolina, that's how you know it was huge. Because Mexico's pretty far away from North Carolina. Mexico's like all the way across Florida and 2 oceans away from North Carolina. That's on a different coast. So if I could see that from North Carolina, then that's pretty big. Anyway, back to the nightmare. So I saw it smash down near Mexico, and then it sent a giant shockwave towards North America, and it must have wiped out all the coastal cities near the Gulf of Mexico and heated up the water a lot. It caused a lot of hypercanes. What is a hypercane? I'm glad you asked. A hypercane is basically a hurricane. It's the closest thing to a perfect storm. A hypercane is the closest thing to a perfect storm. They believe hypercanes may have been responsible for the deaths of the dinosaurs just following the asteroid strike. As soon as the asteroid hit, there was a shockwave and then the heat from the asteroid and the atmosphere triggered a chain of natural disasters. One of them being multiple hypercanes that may have helped to wipe out the dinosaurs. It sure was a cataclysmic event. My mom was getting hurricane alerts on her phone from the National Weather Service. It was almost as if she was panicked because we were at the doctor's office. We didn't have time to go to a hurricane shelter. Well, we did the next best thing. We went to a sturdy building, but even that wasn't enough. The sturdy building was swept off its foundation really fast by a wall of water. I mean, the entire frickin' building. And my mom was holding me tightly and screaming, and she was trying to cover my eyes so I wouldn't see anything. I'm not sure where my psychiatrist went, but I was assuming she was already dead, considering the fact that she was still in the office by the time we left. Now, I've never told anybody this story, so please don't think I'm crazy. However, after the hypercanes came a big tornado that ravaged Tornado Alley. This wasn't just your regular F5 tornado. This was freaking huge. It was much bigger than an F5. It was the most catastrophic tornado in American history. I knew that there was death in the air, and there was nothing anybody could do about it. So, the next thing I heard was on the news that there was a giant earthquake in California, and Yellowstone erupted violently. It really was a shame that the world was ending. I mean, the entire planet was falling apart. I don't know what else to do, but I woke up freaking panicked. I was covered in my own sweat. I was damn near drenched in my own sweat, actually. All I could do was lay there and hope morning came soon. It felt like eternities that I was waiting for morning to come. I never told anybody this story, so please don't call me crazy. But yes, I actually had that nightmare when I was 7 or 8 years old. You can imagine how traumatic that was for me. And I have autism, so that just made it more traumatizing. The whole world fell apart around me in my nightmare, and I knew there was nothing anybody could do about it. If you liked this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment, and click the bell notifications, and I'll see you all in the next one.